everyone but Hal, which is now the forget. We need inflation generative.
This is Audible.
Hachette Audio presents Infinite Jest, written by David Foster Wallace, read by Sean Pratt. Publisher's note. From time to time, the listener will hear a female voice announce numbers. These refer to the novel's endnotes, a device well known to fans of Infinite Jest. By turns, descriptive and digressive, definitive and satiric, the notes are an important part of David Foster Wallace's work. Since we are unable to include them in this recording, we nevertheless wanted to acknowledge their existence and allow the serious student of the novel to follow along with the text, pausing and reading particular citations as they emerge. We hope that you find our approach helpful. Year of Glad. I am seated in an office, surrounded by heads and bodies. My posture is consciously congruent to the shape of my hard chair. This is a cold room in university administration, wood-walled, Remington-hung, double-windowed against the November heat, insulated from administrative sounds by the reception area outside, at which Uncle Charles, Mr. DeLint, and I were lately received. I am in here. Three faces have resolved into place above summer-weight sport coats and half-Windsors across a polished pine conference table, shiny with the spidered light of an Arizona noon. These are three deans of admissions, academic affairs, athletic affairs. I do not know which face belongs to whom. I believe I appear neutral, maybe even pleasant, though I've been coached to err on the side of neutrality and not attempt what would feel to me like a pleasant expression or smile. I have committed to crossing my legs, I hope, carefully, ankle on knee, hands together in the lap of my slacks. My fingers are mated into a mirrored series of what manifests to me as the letter X. The interview room's other personnel include the university's director of composition, its varsity tennis coach, and Academy Pro-Rector, Mr. A. DeLint. CT is beside me. The others sit, stand, and stand, respectively, at the periphery of my focus. The tennis coach jingles pocket change. There's something vaguely digestive about the room's odor. The high-traction sole of my complimentary Nike sneaker runs parallel to the wobbling loafer of my mother's half-brother, here in his capacity as headmaster, sitting in the chair to what I hope is my immediate right, also facing deans. The dean at left, a lean yellowish man whose fixed smile nevertheless has the impermanent quality of something stamped into uncooperative material, is a personality type I've come lately to appreciate, the type who delays need of any response from me by relating my side of the story for me, to me. Past a packet of computer sheets by the shaggy lion of a dean at center, he is speaking more or less to these pages, smiling down. You are held in Cadenza, 18, date of secondary school graduation approximately 1 month from now, attending the Enfield Tennis Academy, Enfield, Massachusetts, a boarding school where you reside. His reading glasses are rectangular, court-shaped, the sidelines at top and bottom. You are, according to Coach White and Dean regionally, nationally, and continentally ranked junior tennis player, a potential ONANCAA athlete of substantial promise, recruited by Coach White via correspondence with Dr. Tavis here, commencing February of this year. The top page is removed and brought around neatly to the bottom of the sheaf at intervals. You have been in residence at the Enfield Tennis Academy since age 7. I am debating whether to risk scratching the right side of my jaw, where there is a wen. Coach White informs our officers that he holds the Enfield Tennis Academy's program and achievements in high regard, that the University of Arizona tennis squad has profited from the prior matriculation of several former ETA alumni, one of whom was one Mr. Aubrey F. DeLint, who appears also to be with you here today. Coach White and his staff have given us... The yellow administrator's usage is on the whole undistinguished, though I have to admit he's made himself understood. The director of composition seems to have more than the normal number of eyebrows. The dean at right is looking at my face a bit strangely. Uncle Charles is saying that though he can anticipate that the deans might be predisposed to weigh what he avers as coming from his possible appearance as a kind of cheerleader for ETA, he can assure the assembled deans that all this is true, and that the Academy has presently in residence no fewer than a third of the continent's top 30 juniors, in 8 brackets all across the board, and that I here, who go by Hal, usually, am right up there among the very cream. Right and center deans smile professionally. The heads of DeLint and the coach incline as the dean at left clears his throat. Belief that you could well make, even as a freshman, a real contribution to this university's varsity tennis program. We are pleased, he either says or reads, removing a page, that a competition of some major sort here has brought you down and given us the chance to sit down and chat together about your application and potential recruitment and matriculation and scholarship. I've been asked to add that Hal here is seated third, boys 18 and under singles in the prestigious Whataburger Southwest Junior Invitational out at the Randolph Tennis Center. Says what I infer is athletic affairs, his cocked head showing a freckled scalp. Out at Randolph Park, near the outstanding Elcon Marriott, CT inserts. A venue the whole contingent's been vocal about finding absolutely top hole thus far. Which, just so, Chuck. And that according to Chuck here, Hal has already justified his seed. He's reached the semifinals as of this morning's apparently impressive win, and that he'll be playing out at the center again tomorrow against the winner of a quarterfinal game tonight. And so we'll be playing tomorrow at, I believe, scheduled for 08:30. Try to get underway before the god-awful heat out there. Though, of course, a dry heat. And has apparently already qualified for this winter's Continental Indoors up in Edmonton, Kirk tells me, cocking further to look up and left at the varsity coach, whose smile's teeth are radiant against a violent sunburn. Which is something indeed. He smiles, looking at me. Did we get all that right, Hal? CT has crossed his arms casually. The triceps flesh is webbed with mottle in the air-conditioned sunlight. You sure did, Bill. He smiles. The two halves of his mustache never quite match. And let me say, if I may, that Hal's excited. Excited to be invited for the 3rd year running to the Invitational again. To be back here in a community he has real affection for. To visit with your alumni and coaching staff. To have already justified his high seed in this week's not unstiff competition. To, as they say, still be in it without the fat woman in the Viking hat having sung, so to speak. But of course, most of all, to have a chance to meet you gentlemen and have a look at the facilities here. Everything here is absolutely top slot from what he's seen. There is a silence, DeLint shifts his back against the room's paneling and recenters his weight. My uncle beams and straightens a straight watch band. 62.5% of the room's faces are directed my way, pleasantly expectant. My chest bumps like a dryer with shoes in it. I compose what I project will be seen as a smile. I turn this way and that, slightly, sort of directing the expression to everyone in the room. There is a new silence. The yellow dean's eyebrows go circumflex. The two other deans look to the director of composition. The tennis coach has moved to stand at the broad window, feeling at the back of his crew cut. Uncle Charles strokes the forearm above his watch. Sharp curved palm shadows move slightly over the pine table's shine. The one head's shadow, a black moon. Is Hal all right, Chuck? Athletic Affairs asks. Hal just seemed to, grimace. Is he in pain? Are you in pain, son? Hal's right as rain, smiles my uncle, soothing the air with a casual hand. Just a bit of a, let's call it maybe a facial tic, slightly. And all the adrenaline of being here on your impressive campus, justifying his seed so far without dropping his set, receiving that official written offer of not only waivers but a living allowance from Coach White here, on Pac-10 letterhead, being ready in all probability to sign a national letter of intent right here and now this very day. He's indicated to me. CT looks to me, his look horribly mild. I do the safe thing, relaxing every muscle in my face, emptying out all expression. I stare carefully into the Tertullian knot of the middle dean's necktie.
Checkmate.
My silent response to the expected silence begins to affect the air of the room. The bits of dust and sport coat lint stirred around by the AC's vents, dancing jaggedly in the slanted plane of window light.
About 17 minutes.
The air over the table like the sparkling space just above a fresh poured seltzer. The coach, in a slight accent neither British nor Australian, is telling CT that the whole application interface process, while usually just a pleasant formality, is probably best accentuated by letting the applicant speak up for himself. Right and center deans have inclined together in soft conference, forming a kind of teepee of skin and hair. I presume it's probably facilitate that the tennis coach mistook for accentuate, though accelerate, while clunkier than facilitate, is from a phonetic perspective more sensible, as a mistake. The dean with the flat yellow face has leaned forward, his lips drawn back from his teeth in what I see as concern. His hands come together on the conference table surface. His own fingers look like they mate as my own 4X series dissolves, and I hold tight to the sides of my chair. We need candidly to chat. Reason? Potential problems with my application, they and I, he is beginning to say. He makes a reference.